Let me ask you a question. What do you think of Samsung? How about Chipotle? How about Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump? How about, wait for it, spam? There's a reason I'm asking this. Now let me ask you about Coca-Cola, Chevy, Ford, Levi's jeans. These are all popular, well-known brands, and they all elicit a certain reaction within us. And here's the trick. Each of those that I just mentioned, including your presidential candidates, spent millions upon millions of dollars to try to make that brand impression. I couldn't even imagine the marketing budget behind, say, Nike. It turns out they have quality footwear in most cases. Now, I've had a bad pair of Nike or two in my day, but it hasn't influenced my choice that I will probably go Nike for a recreational shoe before I go anywhere else. Why? Because I've had 10 or 12 pairs of Nikes in my lifetime. Most of them, almost all of them, have been quality. Regardless, that's what corporations can do. They can spend, they can build marketing budgets, they can even spend money to get past. I have no doubt that Chipotle and Samsung in particular will survive their current marketing issues, even though a Samsung fire or a Samsung phone currently reminds me of a dumpster fire. Chipotle, I think of people vomiting. I'm sure they'll get past that. They're going to survive because they have deep pockets and they can continue to market and rebuild that brand. But how about you? What's your brand? This is one of those things, you know, we're taught a lot about the golden rule and about treating everybody the same and so on and so forth. But most of us work in a corporate or semi-corporate environment. And even if you don't, in a retail environment, if you work at a convenience store, if you work at a farm but have to deal with the local co-op, whatever the case may be, you have your own brand. And internalize that for a second and think about what is your brand. Because what you think your brand is and what your brand actually is, probably two different things. Or at least probably not where you'd like it to be. And that's a problem. You know, I remember my days in college and wanted to be the popular kid. I mean, I really did. I came out of high school and I felt like I was kind of bottom of the barrel. And I thought, here's my chance. I can reinvent my brand and be who I want to be and let other people perceive me that way. And I did. Man, I think I had a pretty good track record in college in terms of being the popular kid. The problem with that is I missed out on a lot of quality relationships. A lot of good friends that I had that I didn't manifest those relationships correctly because I had to go over here and meet these guys too. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. Don't misunderstand me. But I think those friends, those relationships that I could have fostered and could have built, I'm going to guess that those friends remember those days where I ditched them to go to a party. Or where I skipped out on movie night because I went to a new organization because here's a group of people I've never met before. And those brands stick. You remember that kid in junior high or in elementary who was always a jerk to you? You maybe haven't seen that person in 20 years. You see them tomorrow, what are you going to think of? Man, I remember what a jerk that kid used to be. You only get one chance to make your first impression. And it's absolutely the truth. Now me, I'm a small business owner. I live my life in client relationships. And I have to make sure when I meet a new client that what they see is what they get. I can't overpromise and underdeliver. I have to be very straight up and honest about what my limitations are, but also what my positive capabilities are. I have to flat out tell people, I am a phenomenal designer, but I cannot build your sign to these specs because I don't have the physical capabilities. I don't have the shop space. I don't have the tools. I don't have the X or the Y. And that's the reality of my life as a small business guy, is honesty to the core. You want it Friday, you'll get it Friday. No excuses. You want it Friday, I can't get it to you Friday. I'm going to tell you why, and I'm going to be honest about it. But that extends so far beyond the workplace. And this is something I'm probably a little more in tune of because I'm a small business owner. I can't blame my boss. I can't blame the people that work for me. I can't say, well, I gave them the stuff on Wednesday. I know you were supposed to have it, but Susie got sick. And therefore, it's me. It's just me. And it's the same thing in your world, whether you realize it or not. If you have people above you or people below you that aren't living up to expectations, still affects your brand. Now let me ask you this. You ever been at that sporting event where you see an acquaintance or a coworker flip out on a referee or an umpire? I mean, it's not pretty. And sadly, maybe some of you have done it too. You may feel, or the person doing the yelling, creating the scene, may feel 100% justified in what they're doing at the time. But everybody watching is going to remember you or that person for that incident. I've seen it myself. I've seen parents that I know and that I trust just completely wig out over a bad call. Maybe it was a bad call, maybe it wasn't. It's youth sports. Stuff happens. But every time I see that person, the first thing I think of when they wigged out during that sporting event. Now, they may be a reliable client. They may be a fantastic coworker. But that's now their brand. That's the impression that their brand has made on you. Now, what is your brand making on other people? What's their impression of you? Are you a good coworker? Are you a bitchy coworker? Are you a great coworker, but at night you go out to the bar and you get lit and you talk about your coworkers? Are you great at work, but you love to bitch about your best friend or, one of your good friends who's not as good as you are, maybe, per se? Your coworkers, your friends, your family, they all take those things in, those moments where we have a lapse of judgment. Your friends and family remember. They can excuse some of it, but they still have an impression of who you are on a day-to-day basis. And I think what I'm really getting at here is we're overcomplicating the whole process. Why can't you be mostly within decorum, the same person in work as you are out of work? Or the same person with your family that you are when you go to the bars with your friends? And I get the whole letting loose idea, believe me. I have done my share of letting loose. But at the end of the day, how do you want to be remembered? And this is not trying to be preachy about you need to drink less or you need to cuss less. It's none of those things. But it's about tempering those attitudes so that the people you deal with day to day or at holidays or on weekends know what to expect from you next time they see you. You may love to tell dirty jokes, and believe me, I'm a fan of dirty jokes. I just suck at remembering them. So feel free to tell me your dirty joke and I will laugh. But don't be that person that is so different from one scenario to the next that it's hard to separate yourself from one environment to the other. Because your clients, your family, your friends won't know what to expect. And I can't think personally of anything worse than going into a situation with friends and having them sit there wondering which me they're going to get. I'm just me, man. I have worked this out to the core where I am me, whether you see me at work or see me out or see me at a family function. No, I may not talk quite the same. I do drop the occasional profanity. But people know, I hope, what to expect from me these days. And it's something for you to consider, because if you're different here than you are there, and different there than you are here, what happens when those situations interact, when they intersect? I would just hate for my lifetime warranty to outlive my product quality. And I hope you'll consider that, you'll think about it, because your product quality at the end of the day is what people are going to remember.